what is up, everyone, and welcome to the Random Encounter Podcast, episode 91. I'm your host, James, and I'm joined by Bryant.
Hello, hello.
Is that a Dragoon shirt? It looks like.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Is that like Heaven's Ward
No,
or
it's
Final
Final
Fantasy
Fantasy
14?
4, I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
Final Fantasy
or
4.
4.
Okay,
Doesn't 4 have a dragoon or something like that, like a prominent dragoon?
it does. Yeah, it
Yeah,
looks
I
like.
think that's what it is.
I was thinking about Heaven's Ward or at least something Final Fantasy 14 related because the Dragoon there
Oh,
actually
maybe.
rides a wyvern, so that's why I was thinking
Is
that.
that what?
Yep, that's
I thought it
exactly
was
what it
4 just
looks like.
because it's kind of retro. It's kind of like 16-bit. Like if you look close, like it kind of has like a 16-bit or a 8-bit or 16-bit aesthetic or whatever. Like it's
Okay.
kind of pixelated, but either way, any dragoon is a good dragoon. So
Yeah.
all good.
Well, today we got quite a bit to talk about this week because there was actually a lot of things that happened this week. We had the Sony State of Play, as well as a lot of rumors. So we're gonna go ahead and go and just fully dive in because there's a lot to cover, and I don't want to be running out of time at the end and kind of, making things go quick. So let's start off with some of the rumors that were happening this week. Midori, who we've talked about quite a bit, she's very like known in the industry because she leaks stuff, and everything she's leaked has been 100% accurate. Like I can't think of one thing that she's leaked that hasn't like existed or never came out. But she was really known for more like Sega, being a Sega leaker. So like Persona 3, she was able to get information on Persona 3 Reload first. Sonic Frontiers, the was it Jet Set Radio remakes and stuff like that. She was kind of the first person to put that out there. Well,
Mhm.
now she's apparently a Nintendo leaker because she reports that Monolith Soft is working on a new game, or rather, a new game is in development, and it's codenamed Legacy. And it's got everybody wondering, like, what could this be? When you think of Legacy, you think, okay, maybe it's an older game or an older title that Monolith Soft has worked on before. In this case, a lot of people are speculating, it's Xenogears or Xenosaga. The thing is, none of those franchises are actually owned by Nintendo. They're owned by Squaresoft or Bandai Namco. The other thing that a lot of people are thinking about is Xenoblade Chronicles X. That this might be either be a remake or b a finally a sequel to that, because and this is to me, I thought it was too bit how can I put it, too much of a stretch. And the reason is because Blade has the word legacy in there. Blade was first introduced in Xenoblade Chronicles X, and it's an anagram that stands for, oh man, what does it stand for?
You mean acronym?
Or acronym? Yeah, I said anagram. My
Yeah.
fault.
Anagram is like if you
Acronym.
take
Yeah,
the letters and you put them in different orders.
yeah, acronym. There we go.
Mhm.
Um, and it's what is before? Or let me see if I can find out what it actually stands
Before,
for.
last, after,
Well, no, legacy.
future.
The L stands for legacy. Let
Okay.
me see. Blade. Of course, I put Blade, and then Blade Runner pops up.
Hmm.
Let's see.
The best kind of blade.
Yeah, right. Oh, builders of the legacy after the destruction of Earth. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's what Blade stands for in Silver Chronicles X. And of course, it has legacy in there. So people are speculating it's that. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I think it's probably maybe an older title. Maybe they worked with Bandai Namco, and maybe they bought the rights to Xenosaga. I mean, we've seen that happen before where companies buy the rights to other franchises so they can go ahead and work on it. What do you think about that, Bryant?
Did you play all the Zeno games on like PlayStation 2? Like
Oh,
what was
Saga?
yeah, Zeno Saga. Was it like 1 through 3 or something like that?
I believe, yeah, there was 3 episodes. Yeah, they had like episode 1, 2, and 3. I never did. I always wanted to. I just never did. I just couldn't afford it, unfortunately, at the time.
Okay, I mean, I know you've played through all the Xenoblade games though.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I'm just curious because I just the only thing I remember about Xeno, I'm gonna keep getting these mixed up. Okay, the one on PlayStation 1 was Xenogears, right? And
Correct.
then Xenosaga was PS2, and there were 3 games of that. And then
Correct.
Xenoblade is the Wii slash Wii U slash Switch games. Okay,
Correct.
so what I remember about Xenosaga when it came out is that like the cutscenes were like extraordinarily long, like they were like 20-minute cutscenes or something like that. Like I remember I bought the first game
Hmm.
and I liked it because it had a lot of like religious, philosophical, like kind of Evangelion-esque stuff to it, and so it interested me.
In
So
Saga
I
or
think it would be
Gears?
both did. They both kind
Okay.
of had like religious, philosophical,
Hmm.
Evangelion-esque stuff in them. I never beat Xenogears. I got like probably more than halfway through it, but I never finished it. That's one I definitely one day would like to go back to, especially if they like remastered it or whatever. But where was I going with that? So I just don't know like how if like there's a connection between make sure I say this right. I don't know like how much of a if the connection between Xenogears, Xenosaga, and Xenoblade is like tangential, or if it's meaningful, or if there is any sort of continuity. There we go.
Yeah.
Between the three. So I do think it would be smart of them to bring them back. I think there are a lot of hardcore fans of that series. I certainly would love to play through them, especially if they were brought forward to current gen and everything like that. So um, I think it would be great because I mean, as we've seen with games like Star Ocean, Second Story R, and a bunch of other games they've been bringing back from the dead. Why not keep bringing them? I'm going to keep buying them. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, as far as the continuity goes, there's theories behind it, and that's mainly because the DLC of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 kind of makes it hint at a at least a connection between Saga, not so much Gears, but Saga, and at the end there is like in the credits of that there is a Bandai Namco kind of
Mm.
credits for it, so that's why people are speculating, because this is some minor spoilers here,
For
for
what?
anybody who's there for 3. I would say it's not, I don't think it's big enough for most people to know, but somebody that's like like a diehard fan might say it's a spoiler. But
Okay.
real quick spoilers. Fast forward like a minute. There's a speech from Xenosaga that's played in Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and that's it.
Mm.
And
Okay.
like me, who've never played Saga, I'd never caught the speech. I was just like, oh, okay.
Mm.
But then people who have, they were like, oh, wow, this speech is literally word for word from Xenosaga. So that's why
That's
people are
interesting.
speculating there's some type of continuity there. Yeah,
Yeah.
three you have to play, especially the DLC, because the whole 1, 2, and 3 there is no connection to Saga outside of a in 2 there's a blade you can get that's Cosmos, but she's
Okay.
not canon.
The
It's just
android,
like
like the android from Xenosaga. That's
correct,
Cosmos.
yeah,
Yeah.
and but she's not canon. It's just like a what do you call it? Like an
Easter egg.
Easter egg, yeah. Like she
Yeah.
joins your team and she's like a party member, but it's not canon to the story. But in
Mm.
3, they did in that DLC there is some canon there to it that a lot of it is leading back to Saga, so a lot of people are speculating that. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. I'm pretty sure whatever they're working on is not going to be for the Nintendo Switch, but the Switch successor, Super Switch, whatever you want to call it.
New Nintendo Switch U.
Yeah,
That's
right.
still my favorite.
Not that wasn't the only thing that was confirmed there. A new Zelda game is also in development, codenamed Edward. And she had also wrote that, to put in context, Link's Awakening was codenamed Richard. So like they're the only Zelda games that have like these like I guess
And they're both
generic
Game Boy.
names. Yeah, they're both Game Boy games. So there people are speculating, Edward might be, maybe a double pack of
Oracle.
Oracle. Yeah, the Oracle games. Maybe
Mm.
it's Minish Cap remade or something like that. We don't know, but all I know is I'm excited for it. The more Zelda,
Oh
the
heck yeah.
better.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean the technological hiccups of Link's Awakening aside, like the art style was so beautiful in that
yep.
game, and if they could find a way to bring the Oracle games and like do a patch for Link's Awakening on the new Nintendo Switch U, that would just be incredible because the slowdown in Link's Awakening is a little disheartening because of how beautiful it is. So
Yeah,
if they brought all those games forward and like made them all like rock solid 60 frames per second, I mean it doesn't get much better than that when it comes to gaming, in my opinion. Like
yeah.
that's it.
No, yeah, I agree. Oracle games were amazing. I remember
Made by
before.
Capcom too, which is interesting.
Yep, all the Oracle games and Minish
Mhm.
Cap was also made by Capcom, which
Oh,
Minish
I
Cap
didn't
is also
realize
really
Minish
good.
was.
Yep,
Yeah, okay.
and it's funny because like Nintendo doesn't usually outsource their
Nope.
games; they're all done in house. But in this case, they actually outsourced Zelda to Capcom. I was like one of the first and
Well,
few times they've done it.
yeah, with the exception of like Hyrule Warriors or whatever, but I wouldn't really count that because that's not like
Yeah,
a Zelda game. The game.
yeah. Well, I mean, more recently, Nintendo's been outsourcing their IPs, but back
Yeah.
then that was like unheard of.
No. Yeah. No way. Yeah. You're right. Hmm.
But yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully it is. Like I'll be down for an Oracle like Ages and Seasons like remake, in the art style of even what's it called, of Link's Awakening.
Hmm.
There's this remake that's like a fan project that's being worked on. That was the original NES, and they kind of have like the, it's not really the Oracle games. It's kind of like the Oracle games aesthetics, but it's like a mixture of that and a Link Between Worlds aesthetics. And it's so cool. I was looking at it. They had like 20 minutes of it like running, and it's pretty cool. And it made me wonder, you know, would I prefer a remake of those games like that, or do I prefer a remake in like the Breath of the Wild or like Ocarina of Time like 3D environment? And I think there's still a sense of, there's still a lot of fun to play top down Zelda games. Like Link's Awakening was really fun, and it's just nice to get something different. Just not the same thing over and over, if that makes sense.
Random question for you: have you like if you sat down right now, could you like play the original Legend of Zelda and have no problems and have a good time?
Probably not. a lot
Okay,
of a
because
lot of NES titles, I'm like, like I don't like playing a lot of NES titles today.
yeah, because like the original Legend of Zelda is like really esoteric. Like it's a game that like I really would love to like go through. So I think that would be really cool if they remade like Zelda One in. I don't know if I don't know if it would fit Link's Awakening's art style because it's a little bit more like desolate and
Grittier,
dark than because
yeah.
Link's Awakening was kind of like whimsical,
Hmm.
and the original Legend of Zelda is a lot kind of darker feeling, as is Zelda 2 for that matter. So it'd be really cool if they kind of redid that Zelda 1 and Zelda 2 and made them a bit more 2024-ish or something, and we could see something like that.
Would you
But
prefer
yeah,
like
that's interesting.
a Breath of the Wild slash Tears of the Kingdom like aesthetics, like the 3D environment, or top down environment?
That's a good question. I wouldn't mind the 3D. I wouldn't mind if we're talking strictly the style. Maybe I wouldn't mind if they did something like that for those two original games, but I wouldn't want like all the crafting and all
Yeah,
the openness or whatever. Like I'd want it to be kind of a limited experience. Which with a game like Breath of the Wild and that art style, like I don't think they could make a game like that and like cut that stuff off. So I think it would have to be like a cool like not cell shade, but like a different style of game for Zelda 1 and Zelda 2 if they redid it.
yeah. Maybe mirror the original artwork somehow.
Yeah,
Right.
somehow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, more Zeldas on the way, which is nice to see. And then another one that was mentioned was there's another code name, which this one is titled Anna, or Anna rather. And the basically she mentions also that to kind of put into perspective, Nintendo Switch Sports when it was being developed, the code name for that was Elsa. So is this like a Nintendo Switch Sports 2, a successor to that? I mean, honestly, Nintendo Switch Sports was cool. Like I enjoyed it. The little bit I played of it was fun.
Was it like the subscription one? Was it like was like
Mm-mm.
a subscription involved with it or something?
No, it was just
Or was that no, that was on Wii U. Wasn't there like a Nintendo Sports on Wii U that had like a subscription to it or something like that?
there was a Nintendo Sports on Wii U. I don't know if it had a subscription. I never knew that actually.
I thought it did. I'm gonna
Yeah,
look into that real quick.
that's
But are you
interesting.
talking about that game that came out like a year or two ago that had like volleyball and
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah, it had
okay, that game.
soccer and
Okay.
it came with the little
Yeah.
like leg strap for that. Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it reminded me a lot of what's it called, Wii Sports, right? It reminded me a lot of
Right.
Wii Sports, which is nice. I enjoyed Wii Sports. It's just a nice like casual game, and honestly, that's something that we don't get too often anymore. Casual games, yeah, you might not play it all the time, but it's always nice to have something in the back like that, like Mario Party, right? Mario Party is great. It's fun. You can play it casually. Those are games that you can easily pop in at any time and be like, oh, well, let's go ahead and try this out and play some of it. So, but it looks like there might be a successor to Nintendo Switch Sports. So if you are into that, definitely keep an eye out for that. All right, so let's go ahead while you're looking at that. I guess you can stop me whenever you find out that we'll start talking about the biggest news, in my opinion, that happened this week, and that is Dragon Quest. So Sunday slash Monday was the Dragon Quest anniversary day. Dragon Quest
Okay,
is
quick quick thing on the Nintendo Switch thing, or
Yeah.
it was called Nintendo Sports. No, what was it again? Wii Sports Club. That's what it was called. And if you
Okay.
own the physical game of it, apparently it all came on the disc. You didn't have to pay for anything. But if you played digitally, you got it online, and like you paid like a rental basically for a game. Apparently, it works something like that. So it was kind of weird. It wasn't like as pure as like Wii Sports was on the Wii
Yeah.
back in 2006, but it you could get everything on disc if you paid for it. But anyways, back to Dragon Quest.
That that's interesting. I did not know that.
Mm.
Yeah, so Dragon Quest Anniversary happened on Monday, and all we really got was a video from the official Dragon Quest account, and on there it was basically the Erdrick symbol, basically the main symbol that's known for Erdrick, popped up, and then next thing you know, it says the legacy. What was it? The legacy continues or begins? Let me double check.
Begins, isn't it?
I think it was, yeah, the legacy begins. I gotta double check that. I don't know why I didn't do that.
It's we got to quote this exactly. It's very important to
Yes,
the context
exactly.
of this.
Let me find out. I had bookmarked it too. That trailer. Here we go. So yeah, it draws the Erdrick symbol, and then it says the legacy. Yeah, the legacy begins.
Begins,
Um,
okay.
and it officially announces Nintendo Switch, PS5, Xbox Series X, S and X, Steam, and I think that's really it, and Windows, right? Which a lot of people were excited about. Like, oh, cool, we're finally getting some information on that. But right after that, Midori comes out and she's like, "Yeah, this is coming out, or at least the announcement's coming officially of the game very soon." And it looks like instead of it being just Dragon Quest 3 that's being remade, now it's Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3 being remade together.
Hmm.
And she also confirmed that this will be shown off at the next Nintendo Direct, which
That
would
would make
be,
sense,
yeah, which I assume is probably not this week, but the week after that. I would assume,
probably.
if Nintendo continues this, and that's got me hyped. Like, that's pretty awesome that this is happening, and it kind of makes sense why they've been quiet for so long. They started off probably with making Dragon Quest 3, and they're like, you know what? Why don't we just add 1 and 2 there as well? 1, 2, and 3 are very unique because they're actually, unlike Final Fantasy, they actually take place in the same world. So they're not each like they're not in chronological order, but they are tied together. Like, one is a sequel to another, and so forth. Right? And I'm not gonna tell you that because it's spoilers, so that anybody's gonna try it out. Like, I have no clue how this game is gonna come out. Are they gonna have 1, 2, and 3 individual, and you play 1, then 2, and then 3, or are you gonna go through in chronological order and you start off with one of the games and it just continues all the way till you get to the end with the last game? That would be pretty awesome. Like, I'm actually excited for that. Uh, what's up, Ash? Says no complaints from him. He loved all three. Yeah, I mean, I'm down to play it in HD2D. I'm very excited for that. The other thing that Midori also pointed out is that Dragon Quest HD2D domain was registered on April 24th. And it wasn't Dragon Quest 3 HD2D, it was just Dragon Quest HD2D, making it seem definitely likely that yes, this is going to be not just Dragon Quest 3 remake, it's 1, 2, and 3. So what are your thoughts on
Well,
that part?
on the
Mm-hmm.
press conference really, or on this thing that you're looking at that says like the quest begins, or whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
they're not saying Dragon Quest 3 anymore. Like it doesn't
Nope.
call out Dragon Quest 3, right? It just says Dragon Quest. That's it.
Yep.
So I would think that like they would limit it to 3, and they wouldn't change it and make it so um generic if they didn't have a plan to just release 3 and have it be 3. So I mean, it has to be 1 through 3. Like I would think that they wouldn't be so oblivious to think that they could announce it like this and then just say, oh no, it is 3 after all. Like, I mean, this is I feel like this is very purposeful to get the hype up, and I
Mm-hmm.
agree with you. I do think this is going to be a Nintendo Direct announcement. I mean, when you think about it, it's kind of poetic because Dragon Quest started on NES,
Yep.
on a Nintendo console. America, it was Dragon Warrior, and I just remember my first experience with it was I think it came. I think like I don't know if it was like I think it was like Dragon Warrior 1 and 2 came out on Game Boy Color as like a dual pack or something like that,
It
and I
was.
bought it because
Yep.
it was like an RPG. Yeah, am I
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
And I remember I bought it, and like it was just so like bare bones. It was just so, because I bought it thinking like, oh, this is gonna be like Final Fantasy VII, not graphically, but just kind of like
Yeah.
that level of like quality of life, and like you get it, and it's like, no, this is something from like the 80s. Like it's definitely you kind of get dropped and you just go find your adventure.
Yep.
So I would very much be, again, back to our conversation before about the Xeno games. Just keep bringing back all these games that have not seen the light of day. Or I mean, these games came out in America, but like they're not as readily available as they are in like Japan. And granted, you can get like one through whatever on like mobile, but it's not the same as popping it onto your PlayStation or your
Yeah.
PC or whatever and playing it. And especially if the graphics are HD2D, like Octopath Traveler and
Mhm.
Bravely Default and all that. Or actually, I wouldn't say Bravely Default. I'd say just Octopath Traveler.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd be really awesome if they brought those forward.
Yeah, and it's like the remake of HD2D is like more beyond than just HD2D because I remember seeing a video where somebody was comparing like the original dungeon or the dungeon that's included in like the mobile version or the Switch version compared to the HD2D, and definitely they're a lot bigger in scope on the
Mm.
HD2D. There's definitely a lot
Oh,
more
sure.
detail, of course, but the dungeons are
Hmm.
actually bigger overall, where the person actually had to walk and then stop for the HD2D to kind of catch up and then walk again and then stop. So that's another thing because in scope it's going to be a lot bigger overall. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm excited for it. Like Dragon Quest 3, amazing game. It's one of the best RPGs ever made. A lot of people's favorite Dragon Quest game because the story is just great. It does a lot of things. If you ever go back and play Dragon Quest 3, a lot of what Dragon Quest 3 does is what modern RPGs do still to till
Oh, sure.
today.
It built on it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same thing, kind of like Dragon Quest One, right? A lot of stuff that does is kind of carried over. Dragon Quest One is a little bit different, and that's one of those games that I felt if there was any Dragon Quest game that could be like an action RPG, it would have been Dragon Quest One, because that whole game you're just one person and you fight only one enemy, so it's like you're doing turn-based combat, but it's one v one, which is kind of funny
Mm.
overall, but it's still fun nonetheless. You can beat that
Action
game in like
RPG is anathema too, though, James. You don't want that in your Dragon Quest. You don't want
no,
action
I
RPG.
don't. But like in my head, I when I think like Dragon Quest One as an action RPG, it's funny. I think of Final Fantasy 16 for whatever reason. I'm like, yeah, it could that'll fit maybe. Yeah, just don't put out all the generic like boring filler quests in your story.
Your
Which
baby forever though is 5, right?
yeah, oh yeah, five
Yeah.
man. Like I'm telling you,
Mhm.
five is everybody needs to play five. Five is a story that till this day has not been told yet, or there hasn't been a game that's told like this game. Such a great game, such a great game. Like I
Nintendo Direct announcement. Dragon Quest 5. Not HD2. I was trying to think of something like more grand than that, like
yeah.
full. Uh, it wouldn't. So never mind. I was gonna try to make a joke, but never mind.
Oh man, if they announced five, I would go crazy.
Mm.
Like
You
I
lose
would
your mind. Yeah.
go crazy. Yeah, I mean five is it's amazing, and it's funny. Like main characters aside, like I don't like main characters that really don't use swords. Like I just like swords. I think like if I have a main character, I want him to use a sword. I don't want him to use any other weapon but a sword. But in
Hmm.
five, that's like the only Dragon Quest main character that I can think of right now that doesn't use a sword. He uses
What
a
does he use?
staff. He has a staff.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So he's
I
like
mean,
a
he
dragoon
could use
then,
a sword.
but
Like
it's a
he,
lance.
no, that's a lance, like a staff, like a wooden like
Yeah.
staff,
Okay.
basically.
Like Donatello.
Um, I'm thinking more
Isn't it like a bow?
like Moses, right? Like he's literally
Oh, or like
like
Vivi?
yeah, I guess you could say like VV, like a wooden
Okay.
staff where he can just sit it down.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but I mean, you could equip a sword with him, like if you wanted to. But that's like kind of his main weapon. If you look at the artwork, that's what he uses. And yeah, there's just a nice twist in Dragon Quest Five that to me was unexpected. And when I got to that part, I was like, man, that is so awesome. I was not expecting this, and I don't think any other game would have done this. So yeah, highly recommend five so you can figure out what that twist is, because then I think you'll be pretty surprised at that as well.
But 1, 2, and 3 may be coming down the pipe. We'll see.
Yep, one, two, three, which is
Shadow
actually
drop.
a
Shadow drop on Nintendo
trilogy,
Direct Day.
and it
What if
would
that
make
happens?
sense, right? Because Dragon Quest 11 brought in a lot of newcomers, and
Mm.
Dragon Quest 11 actually is tied to one, two, and three, so they're kind of like in that same universe too. So it kind of makes sense that everybody who beat 11 is going to be like, oh, well, I want to see one, two, and three. And
Mm.
they tease that too. Like, I'm not gonna. It's not really a spoiler, but in the end of Dragon Quest 11, there's like a cinematic like cutscene, I guess you could say, and it just talks
Mhm.
about like all the other Dragon Quest games, but specifically they show off like the main character of 1, 2, and then 3. Well, they don't show the main character of 3, but they kind of like show it off, and it's like, oh, cool, like this is kind of like giving you a throwback to those games. So it kind of makes sense that people probably got curious and are like, oh yeah, I want to see what these new Dragon Quest games are, and Square's like, yeah, we'll just give them 1, 2, and 3 since we already did 11. So this would
Scale of
be.
1 to 10 if they. Oh, what
Mhm.
you're saying?
No, I was gonna say this will probably be like the 90th time that they've remade these games, though.
This will be the best one. Scale of 1 to 10 if Nintendo does Nintendo Direct and they shadow drop this HD2D thing like same day or whatever. How much would you freak if they did that?
Oh man, that would be crazy. Like,
That'd be crazy. Yeah,
yeah, like I would freak
like they did with
out.
Metroid Prime.
Was Metroid Prime Shadow Drop the same day? Was it?
It was
Okay, I don't
for the
remember that.
Switch. The
Yeah.
Switch port was. Yeah,
Okay, that's right. Digital
yeah. I
first,
freaked
and
out
then
over that.
physical came out.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I freaked out too, and then I like for the longest time I actually waited. I was like, I'm gonna get the physical. I'm gonna get the physical, and then I just couldn't hold it no more, and I bought the
No.
digital. Like,
Worthwhile
I-
purchase.
yeah, definitely, I loved it. Beat it on stream. It was fun. Got lost for a little bit. I had to use a guide when you're trying to get
It
the
happens.
towards the end where you had to find, what was
Get all
it?
the artifacts,
Yes.
the Chozo artifacts. Yeah, it
Yep.
gets a bit. Yeah.
I had to use a guide for that.
That's okay. I'm not judging. Not really. Maybe a little bit. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Yes, we're not judging about that, but what we will be judging is the state of play
Uh-oh.
because that
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's talk.
yes, we got some thoughts on that state of play, and I don't have this. I thought I had the state of play list on there, but I don't. And yeah, we streamed it. We were live, both me and Bryant. We were live for that, and Ash. Ash was there as well. And this state of play, I don't know. Like, let's start with you. Give your thoughts on the state of play. Like, what were your thoughts? What did you feel about the state of play? Do you feel that because we live streamed it, do you feel like it was a waste of time?
No, I don't think it's. I love events. Like I don't care if there's like not one thing that I care about. Like when there's an event, it's fun just to like talk with a couple people that like know games and are excited about games, and we can just kind of make fun of it if it's something that we don't like or we don't care about, or
Yeah.
it's something that's bad, or we can get like ridiculously hyped. Like I remember, probably it's like 10 years ago at this point, which blows my mind. Game trailers used to exist, and like one of my favorite viral moments that they ever had was, and it's something I go back to every once in a while when I need a good laugh or a good smile or whatever, a good happy feeling. When PlayStation had that press conference, I want to say it was in 14, where they revealed Final Fantasy VII Remake,
Hmm.
Shenmue 3, and like the release date of The Last Guardian, and like they just lost their minds. It was like the
Yeah,
coolest like
I
raw
remember that.
excitement. You remember that? Oh, dude, it's
Yeah,
so great. It's just such pure human joy, emotion, and like that. And I'd love to be a part of a moment like that where it's just a bunch of people that like really care about something, that are just excited about an unexpected announcement like that. So when it comes to this state of play, I was listening to Sacred Symbols podcast of Colin Moriarty today, and it's so funny. I in my head when we streamed the other day, I think I said to you guys like this is either a B minus C plus, and that's exactly how Colin graded it as well. When I was listening to those guys talk about it, I didn't get through their entire topic of it. Like I had to stop the podcast actually to get to this podcast. But yeah. So here's the thing: if it didn't have the Astrobot game, like the Astrobot game was like the grade curve, like if you were like in high school or whatever, and
yeah,
you had a bunch of people that like did really poorly, and like your teacher graded on the curve somebody that had like a C is like considered an A or whatever. And that's what Astrobot is. Astrobot makes that press conference go from like a C minus, maybe D plus to me, to a B minus, because that's how strong that game looks. And
yeah,
the more I've read about it, the more stoked I am about it, because it has like they're just calling it Astrobot because this is like a reboot of the series. Like this is gonna be like a full on game with like I think I read, I don't even remember how many levels it's supposed to be, but like a ton of
I
levels. Like
think
this
80.
isn't
They
like a
said.
pack in. What'd you say?
I thought they said like 80 levels.
Yeah, yeah, like a bunch of planets, about like a bunch of characters. Like this is not like a little. This isn't like a pack-in game like the game inside of the PS5, the Astros. Was it? What's
Playroom.
the one on PlayStation?
Was that
Playroom.
one?
Yeah, and I love that. This is like a full-on Astrobot game, and that really gets me excited. And that in that gameplay, like if you would have told me, hey, there's a new Astrobot game coming out, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like I really like Astrobot, but that trailer, it just hits all the right buttons. Like it's colorful, it's action-packed, the platforming looks solid. There's lots of cameos from PlayStation characters. It's big, it's smooth. The frame rate looks nice. It's detailed. It has a ton of potential. So that alone makes it worth it. The Dynasty Warriors game looks interesting. I guess they spent way too much time on Concord, and that is something that is very much a very common thought across the internet right now. Is that they
Yeah.
spent way too much time on Concord. Again, I was listening to the podcast, and they were saying like, if a kid was like, "Well, I want Overwatch," and then like the parent says like, but you have Overwatch at home," and it's like Concord. It's
Yeah.
like it just kind of comes across as kind of generic. Like a bunch of people in a boardroom said like we need to make a hero shooter, and then they came up with Concord like 5 years ago. Now they're putting it out or whatever. And then that breath game, what's it called? What's it called? The breath game. What was it called? The
Which breath
that
game?
that
I think.
game with like the samurai or whatever. What's it called?
Oh,
Something the wind meets the breath or something. What is it?
where the wind meets it, where the wind meet. That one.
Yeah, that one. I don't know where I got breath from. But
Yeah.
yeah, that one looks really cool. The dress up one, like whatever, it's obviously not for me. What else was there, James, that I'm not
So
remembering?
yeah, let me go down that list right there. And what's
Mhm,
up, Geek? Welcome to the podcast. So starting off, we had Concord,
mhm.
which was like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's
Um,
so crazy how long they did that.
yeah, and then like God of War Ragnarok. It wasn't really like 30 minutes, it was like 20 or
Yeah,
something like
who
that.
cares about that?
It was still a long time. God of
It
War
was.
Ragnarok was next.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Dynasty Warriors Origins, which looks cool, but it's a Dynasty
Mhm.
Warriors game. I'm like,
It's Muso. Yeah.
Infinity Nikki, which is the like the
Yeah.
dress up type of game.
Not for me. Yeah.
Graphically, it looks amazing though. Like
Sure.
that, I won't deny. Like graphically, it looked pretty amazing. Uh, that's funny because they're calling it an open world RPG here. Interesting.
Really,
Interesting.
they're calling the Nikki game a no problem. That's interesting.
It says Infinity Nikki, the vibrant open world RPG with former Zelda director Kentaro Tominaga attached to
What?
the project.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know
Okay.
that.
I didn't know neither.
Okay, this game got some provenance now.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna have to keep an eye out. Where the winds meet.
That looks cool.
Yeah. The Ballad of Antara, which was like I believe that was the
Was that the
VR
VR game?
game. I think so. I don't this game at all. No. Lost Bryant.
I
What happened there? I can't hear
cut
you.
out for some reason. Okay,
Oh,
hang on a second.
yeah, I can hear you now.
You can hear me? Okay, I don't know what happened. Like everything cut out. Like my TV turned off. Like everything like
I
cut off.
lost
That was
power
really
for a
strange.
minute.
Yeah, that was really weird. I don't know. Okay, so you said that VR game. That VR game looks really dope. I just bought the PSVR because it was on sale. So that one looks. I'm really looking forward to that actually.
Yeah, this one actually
What
wasn't.
is
It
going
says
on?
Ballad of Antara is a high fidelity free to play action RPG releasing next year.
Oh, it's a free to play. Is
Yeah.
that the same one we're talking about? Let me
No, this
look
is
it
not.
up.
This one
What's
is
it
not a
called again?
VR game. I'm trying to see that. What game is
Okay, that's
this?
not the one that I'm thinking of then.
I don't remember this game. Oh, I do remember this game. Never mind. I do. This is the one that looked like a Souls like type game.
Okay.
But I didn't know it was free to play. That I did not know. So never mind that. Like now I'm not a fan of it. But yeah, it's a brand new IP developed by Tipsworks Studios. And yeah, they said it's a free to play game. Interesting. Skydance's Behemoth. That's the one that was the VR game. It looks like
Okay.
I guess like Skyrim almost. It has like that Skyrim vibe. Walking Dead
Or it
Saint. Mhm.
or kind of reminds me of that it's not like the cartoony style of Asgard. It's called Asgard's Wrath on MetaQuest, but it might be that kind of same scope with like swords and sorcery and like kind
Yeah.
of like that RPG aspect. So that it looks cool. And then what's the next one?
Yeah. I was saying Walking Dead, but that's not it. That's the developers behind
That's the
Behemoth.
developer, yeah.
Yeah. Alien Rogue Incursion, which was the Aliens game. I do remember that. Marvel
Mm-hmm.
Rivals. So they announced a console release. Closed beta set to come out in July. Until Dawn. the PS5 and PC release coming fall 2024. Path of
Yeah.
Exile 2, early access in late 2024. Silent Hill 2
We already
remake.
have Diablo at home.
Yeah. Silent Hill 2 remake October 8th, which
Yeah.
was, I think, was it you that predicted that? You said October?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I said
Yeah.
I bet that's October 2024, and yeah, there
Yeah.
it was. That game I'm so I don't know how I feel about that. Like conceptually, I think it's great that they're bringing Silent Hill 2 forward, and I think they should do Silent Hill 1, Silent Hill 3. Like they should that series should exist. But I don't know, that game just looks so like it doesn't look as high budget as it should be. It
Yeah.
looks really like it looks like a 6 or a 7. Like it doesn't look great in my opinion.
I mean, it's the Blooper team. If you look at
Mm.
what's the other game that they did on Xbox? Shoot.
Yeah, that game with like the kid with the white hair.
Yeah.
What was it
Um,
called?
can't remember it, but I played that game and I liked it. Like I beat it. It was a small like 20-hour game, maybe 15-hour game. Uh, and graphically it wasn't impressive. Like when I saw this, I was like, this is not a Series X, like
The Medium,
the medium. Yeah, there we
right?
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, this is not something that showcases the Series X, is power. And I kind of get that same feeling with Silent Hill 2.
Mhm.
And remembering this Blooper team, I was like, yeah, it kind of makes sense. But if it's fun, hey, I'll probably play out. I'm more than likely gonna pick it up regardless, knowing me.
Just to save a correction, I think it's Bloober team with a
Oh, is
B.
it
It's not
Bloober?
Blooper. Bloober, yeah, it's not like a like what happens at the end of a TV show when like the actors mess up their lines.
Yeah. Okay, so it's Bloober.
Although that might
Okay.
be more appropriate given the quality of what this game is looking like.
Well, whoopsie. Didn't mean to mistake the name there. Uh, Monster Hunter Wilds. They showed some of that, which is still coming next year, which was cool. And then of course the highlight, which was Astrobot. So those were all the games there. I mean, for me, what the thing that got me most excited was Astrobot. Like you, like
Mhm.
everybody else out there, everybody was excited about Astrobot. And it's nice to see Team Asobi. And for me, I'm wondering what is Sony thinking, seeing that everybody actually got excited for Astrobot, and them knowing that they shut down Japan studios. Like, what do they think about that? Because I do feel that, how can I put it? You get fatigued with too many like similar titles, right? And in order to have a nice diverse portfolio, you kind of have like different genres and so forth. Now, when I look at PlayStation Studios, I feel like how I always saw Xbox back in the 360 days, where it's like every exclusive is a first person shooter or a first person game or anything like that. Like that's what I saw in Xbox. And in this case, now with PlayStation, it's like every exclusive is just a cinematic game. And it's nice to see something just different. Like I'll never forget when PS1 came out, you had Crash Bandicoot, right? Of course, cinematic games weren't really that much of a thing at the time, but still, like exclusive wise, you had Crash Bandicoot. Uh, what did I lose my train of
Spyro.
thought? There's Spyro.
Mhm.
Ape Escape. There we go. Ape
Oh yeah,
Escape,
Ape Escape
which
was
was
great. That was
yeah,
another kind of weird game, like it was
hmm
very like um just kind of ridiculous. Like you're running around with like a kid with a net and it's just fun. Like
yeah,
that's kind of like a Nintendo spirit. That game's very
exactly.
Nintendo.
Yep, and it's fun. And so you don't get these fun games like you used to,
You're gonna
and
play Concord and you're gonna like it.
yeah, no thanks. But it's funny because I'm looking at this little picture here that's of Astrobot from the game, and they're showing all the like mascots there. They have like Kratos and it looks like Atreus next to him. I can't tell if that's Atreus or somebody else. You have what's her name from Horizon, Alloy, and then you
Oh yeah.
have Drake there, and in the
Mhm.
back you have the Ape Escape kid. I forgot his name, but you have him in the back like being hidden there. I'm like, come on.
Is
But
it Spike? Or Spike the bad guy from Ape Escape? Hang
I
on.
think Spike
No, not.
is. I think his name is Spike.
Let's see. Ape Escape main character. Ape main character is. Yep, it's Spike.
Yep. Well, like, looking at that picture, it just reminds me also to think like, yeah, this is where Sony's mind is at. Like, forget their other franchises, forget Gravity Rush or well, I guess Spike is there, but forget Gravity Rush, Parappa the Rapper. Even though they did show him in the trailer there, or at least a robot that's like him. But like this is kind of like their focus. But anyways, it's nice to see something uh, different coming from Sony. And Astrobot was nice. The VR game, I did get to test it out, and I thought it was fun. And then of course the
Great.
free pack in the Astral Playroom
Mhm.
for PS5 was very fun. I enjoyed it a
Mhm.
lot more than I thought I was for
Mhm.
being a pack in game, right? And then it's nice to see that. And this is something that a lot of people were saying for the longest time. Like Astrobot needs its own game. Like let Team
Yeah.
Asobi create a game that's for Astrobot that's not VR related, so that everybody can enjoy. And here it is, and that comes out September 6th. So that's gonna be
I
pretty
just really
awesome.
hope it sells. I really hope
Me
it
too.
sells. Like, I know the internet's on fire about it, and I know I'm gonna buy it, and I know you're gonna buy it, and
Yeah.
everybody that we talk to is gonna buy it. But like, I really hope it's not like, yeah, but it's this. Like, I don't know if it's like, no, everybody needs to buy this. That we need to show Sony that like
Yeah.
these games can succeed. They don't have to keep relying on this live service stuff that is just so watered down now in the gaming ecosystem of all these games being. This is just a nice single player. It's probably gonna have great music because all the Astro games have great music, tight gameplay, fun game. Like just go play it. Go. I don't want to hear any discourse. I don't want to hear about if Aloy does, if the what's the thing called that she has, the focus. If like the
Yeah.
focus is on the wrong ear, I don't want to hear about Twitter complaining about that or whatever. Like they're people. Somebody. I just want to play a game and have it be fun with no arguments. Like that's what this game is, and I
that's
really hope they do that.
that's impossible. You know that.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, no, I agree. I hope everybody goes out there and buys it. But at the same time, I also think about like these investors. They probably look to like what kids want, and like I was talking to you during the state of play. I look at like my kids' gaming habits, and mainly outside of like Zelda and like Pokemon, you know, or Nintendo like franchises. When it comes to everything else, it's just a live service game, right? Roblox is a live
Roblox.
service. Yep, Roblox, Warzone, Fortnite, X Defiant, which is a live service game that just came out. Like that's the
Mhm.
type of games that they're playing. They don't
Let me ask you a
play.
question
Mm-hmm.
about that. Because I was listening to another podcast, the Player One podcast, where they talk about their kids playing Roblox,
Mm-hmm.
and they were saying that their kids like the games are just kind of like an excuse to like hang out with their friends and talk like in game. Like, do you find that with your kids, or do you think that they actually play because they like the gameplay, or do you think it's more of like a social thing?
I mean, it might be a social thing, like, because when they're not playing with their friends, in terms of Roblox, then they're usually playing something else or watching like YouTube. So there is that too. It's an easy way
Mm.
for them to kind of play, right? It's like playing on the playground without going to a
Sure.
playground.
Yeah.
And so they play stuff like that. Like there's a game that's on Steam called, man, I can't, why can't I remember it? It's like Lethal Company.
Mm.
Oh,
But
why
not
can't I
Lethal
remember
Company.
it? But it's not. No, it's similar. Dang it! I
Mhm.
can't believe I can't remember it because I was just talking about this with somebody the other day too. But it's like Lethal Company, and Roblox has a version of that like built into
Mm.
it.
Mhm.
So they were playing that, and it's like okay, like there's all these cool like little mini games. There was a cool Sonic game. There's a Sonic simulator there. There's
Oh, yeah, I heard
actually
about that. Yeah.
yeah, Sega actually like supports it, which is kind of
Mhm.
cool.
Yep.
And that one's actually pretty fun because it's just like an open world like Sonic game there, and that one's pretty cool. But
Probably
yeah,
better than a lot of the 2010 Sonic games.
yeah, it is. I would say,
Yeah.
but like yeah, they are just into like live service games, and for me, I don't know. The minute I hear live service, I'm like, But I think
Yeah, I tune out
also
too.
us like our habits
Us
growing
old
up.
guys.
Yeah, we grew up playing single player games, so we would
Mm.
prefer single player games, and then do multiplayer games as like a casual hobby. It's like, oh, let's do
Sure.
this.
Yep.
Where this
Mhm.
newer generation is like, no, we need to do only multiplayer. Like gaming is to play with your friends, not by
Yep.
yourself. And they
Yep.
have a
Correct.
different like look of gaming.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, they have a bad look at gaming. I'll be the guy to say that.
Or were
They're
you
looking
one of
at
those
gaming
dads that
wrong.
Were you one
Uh-huh.
of those dads that like when your kids were like 4 or 5, you gave them Mario Brothers and like Mario 2 and Mario 3 and like, okay, you're not playing anything from current gen until you beat all these NES games or something?
No, so for the longest time,
I'm
they were
kidding.
not allowed to play Fortnite, and I refused to
Mm.
let them play Fortnite, and I told them they were going to play real games. So they beat Breath
Hey,
of the
there you go.
Wild. Like when Breath of the Wild came
Oh,
out, they
that's
beat
that's
that.
that's something. Okay.
Mario Odyssey. My oldest son. Well, we actually replayed it later on. We beat Super Mario 3D World together. What else?
Nice.
They've done Wind Waker, Twilight Princess.
Okay, they've earned
I mean,
Fortnite, I think.
yeah,
They've touched
I,
some good stuff. Okay.
yeah. Final Fantasy 15. They played some of that.
Yeah.
So.
Um, okay.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get like my oldest to play Final Fantasy remake, 7 remake, and
Hmm.
he's like, yeah, I'll download it, and he doesn't touch it.
Mm.
So, but no, I was that guy. I refused to let him play Fortnite until I felt like they can appreciate real games, and then I'll let them
Yes.
play Fortnite, which is good because
Yeah, we sound
sometimes
we sound so elitist right now, but I don't care.
I don't care neither.
Real games.
Yeah, real games. Like a game that has a beginning and an end. That's a real game.
Mhm.
Like oh man. But yeah, the other thing that I was excited for was Monster Hunter Wilds. Like I know like you and Ash couldn't get into it. I like Monster Hunter. I wasn't always into it, but Monster Hunter Rise really and Monster Hunter World actually really got me into it. So Wilds I'm excited, and it kind of looks like they're definitely making this the sequel to Monster Hunter World and not Monster Hunter Rise, because
Mhm.
even at the end it kind of said that you get some stuff carried over from Monster Hunter World if you have what
Save
is it
data.
called? Yeah, save data from Worlds and Ice. What is it? Ice something. Ice.
Iceborne?
Yeah, Iceborne. I think is it
Mhm.
Iceborne? Yeah, because I
I think
started
it is.
getting when I was thinking of the expansion, a bunch of Final Fantasy 14 expansion packs came in my head. I was like, no, I know it's none of these.
Monster Hunter Dawn Trail.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say Stormblood. Actually, Monster Stormblood. I
Yeah,
was like, wait
there
a
you
minute,
go.
that doesn't sound right. Um, But yeah, that's cool. To me, I just like you didn't really need to show it because it's still over a year out. So like I
Mhm.
don't need to see more of that. Like I'm gonna get it. I'll wait for Capcom because they usually do their deep dives for Monster Hunter anyways. I prefer that because then you actually get a deep dive and they talk about all the new stuff that's going on with the game. But yeah, and then where the winds meet, right? Yeah, where winds meet, not
Mhm.
where winds meet. That's another one I'm excited for as well.
Yes. So I give it a C minus B plus. I think you said you gave it a
C
C
minus, yeah.
minus,
Mm-hmm.
C minus. Okay, so I think I think I hold Astrobot in a little higher esteem because I beat the VR game and I beat the packing game. So
Yeah.
I definitely know. I think this is going to be something special. So that alone, you take that away, I'm right there with you. I'm probably even below a C. I'm probably like C minus D plus if it wasn't for Astro. So
Yeah.
yeah, can't wait to see what this upcoming year is going to bring.
Yeah. Oh, just says, man, your son was a good squad member. Yeah, that's right. He played Fortnite with us when we
Oh,
were doing some
nice.
streams. Yeah, we did some streams. He would play with us and he would carry us basically. um, yeah. C minus for me. Like I like Astrobot, but I don't think it's enough for me to get it to put it up to a B. Like if they had
Okay.
like not, and I guess it's just the content that they showed. I don't know. They did better, right? There's a lot more actual trailers with gameplay versus just cinematics. So that was good.
Yes.
Like they show
Hmm.
gameplay, and that's always my biggest pet peeve is I hate
Yep.
seeing
Me too.
just cinematics.
Yep.
Concord right away they open up with a cinematic. I was like,
It
why? The
was so
cinematic was so long.
long.
Yeah, it's like we didn't need to have this much time with Concord. You could have just jumped in and be like, here's Concord, blah blah blah, and then yeah, maybe people would have actually been like, oh, this game doesn't look that bad. But the minute you had
Mhm.
this long cinematic and then you do an explanation of the game, people are already upset at the cinematic. They don't want to see your game no more.
If they just would have done just the gameplay stuff and that's it, and I think that probably would have been passable as far as how long it was. Like I still probably would have liked it a little less, but that would have been acceptable if they just would have done the gameplay piece. But the fact that they had that whole like 5 minute long, 7 minute long cinematic bit in there, just so unnecessary. And let me just ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a temptation to answer this like fun in a funny way, but I'm being serious. If sub out Astrobot for a Dragon Quest V remaster, what would you rate the press conference? Would you give it a B minus B then, would you say?
I probably would actually. I would say
Okay.
that.
Okay, so it's just
Yeah.
an equivalency thing. Like I hold
Hmm.
this in a high esteem and you hold like a Dragon Quest in a high esteem. Okay, there
Yeah.
we go. Makes sense.
Like it might be like it's hard because when I rate stuff, I also think about everything surrounding it, and there are very few titles to me that was like, all right, this is an A plus. Like I think Zelda is one of those that like you show me a brand new Zelda game that
Mhm.
looks crazy, and I could just say, all right, this is an A plus already. Uh, I mean, I might give it a B. It just depends on what I see, right? Like it's kind of hard to answer that question without it actually happening because like if they showed me Dragon Quest game and I thought
gameplay.
it looked like trash, then I probably would have
Mhm.
been like, no,
No, it wouldn't
like
look
it
like
was
trash. No
horrible,
way.
right? Yeah. No, like let's say if they added like Dragon Quest Monsters that came out recently, if
Mm.
let's say if they announced Dragon Quest Monsters there instead of Astrobot, I probably still would have gave it a C if that makes sense. But
Interesting. Okay.
versus a mainline Dragon Quest game, that's a different story though.
Okay.
Hmm. But yeah, that's the state of play. I guess yeah, you know, we'll see what else gets announced. Cause Summer Game Fest is coming
Yes.
up this Friday, and they said there's going to be a lot more announcements happening in Summer Game Fest. If you go to the Summer Game Fest website, which is just summergamefest.com, they kind of have a calendar there of all the different events that are happening. Of course, May 30th was the State of Play. The 7th at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern is Summer Game Fest, where they'll be showing off a bunch of new gameplay trailers and all that stuff there. And
Are
there's
we
a
gonna be
bunch
able
of
to
other
stream
stuff.
that?
I'm trying to. I
Okay,
definitely
because
will
I'll be
have.
available too.
Yeah, yeah. So like, I'm trying to. I'm hoping to. So I'll definitely let you know as soon as I
Okay.
find out. But I definitely want to because that seems to be what E3 is, I guess now.
I
So I'm
feel like
hoping for.
last year's Summer Game Fest there was a couple good
Mhm.
announcements. I feel like
Yeah, it wasn't
so.
that bad.
No.
I think there was a few good ones that I liked. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I'll try to because I'm hoping this is gonna be good. There's a bunch of other stuff they have on the calendar here. It's like they have the devs Volvy's 15th birthday party, Devolver Direct. That's Devolver Digital. There's a Future of Play, Wholesome Direct, and like so forth. There's like Latin American Game Showcase, Woman Led Games, Future Game Show, Xbox Showcase, which is on the 9th at 1 p.m. Eastern, which is gonna
What
have
day of the week is the 9th? Do you know?
that's on a Sunday.
Okay, I'll have to figure something out. If you can
Yeah.
stream, I'll try to make something work.
Yeah, that I'll have to see about too. I mean, honestly,
Okay.
in my head, I'm thinking like, is it going to be worth it? I don't think so, but we'll see. And then
It
there's the PC Gamer Showcase that's on the 9th as well at 4 p.m. Eastern, and then Ubisoft Forward is on the 10th. And my theory is that after the 10th, at some time, Nintendo's going to announce a
Yep.
direct.
That one we're
But
definitely streaming.
oh yeah, for sure, yeah, everything will
Mhm.
stop just for that because
Absolutely.
I think that one is going to be pretty hype and it's going to be a nice send off for the Switch.
Yes. Correct.
Hopefully. Uh,
Mm.
but looking at the partners here that are for Summer Game Fest, like I was looking through that list, Nintendo is nowhere near on there.
I wouldn't expect
Meaning,
them to be.
yeah, well, for me, I was like, for speculation and stuff like that, I was like,
Mm.
meaning, I was hoping that we saw something Nintendo related here, but they're not a partner. Neither is like Square Enix.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. So if you
Sega?
go, yeah, Sega is. So like,
Okay.
if you go to summergamefest.com, go to the website and scroll all the way down. They show you all the partners. And looking at this list, I was trying to predict what games I think might be announced at the Summer Game Fest. And like not having Square Enix is I think a huge blow, and not having Nintendo is also a huge blow. Which makes me hope that somehow Nintendo or Square Enix will show some Nintendo stuff, right? Dragon Quest, possibly a new Bravely Default, maybe something else on there. But that also means that we won't
Capcom.
see Kingdom Hearts 4.
That's true. Capcom's going to be there, so that's
Yep.
cool as long as they're just not re-showing the Monster Hunter trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Atlas, that's promising.
Yep.
Bandai Namco.
Yep.
Let's see. Going through these.
There's Amazon Games, Amazing Season Games.
Sega,
Never heard of
SNK. I
them.
wonder if SNK is going to finally show that freaking Metal Slug Tactics game. That game always looked really interesting to me. I
It
want that to
did.
come out soon.
It did. I
Uh,
completely forgot about that.
yeah, that game was great
Yep.
looking.
Blumhouse
Yeah.
Games. Yeah, Bandai Namco. I think they're. We already know that Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero is going to be there, so I
Mm,
doubt they'll show anything else related. Atlas is probably going to show more Metamorphosis or whatever it's called.
mm,
They'll probably show
Fantasia.
more of that,
What's it called? Metamorphosis. Fun.
something like that. Yeah. Steam. They might show off that new that game that leaked, that hero shooter that was leaked for Steam, which is funny. It says Steam
Refantasio.
knockoff. Fantasio. Okay.
Yeah, Refantasio. Yeah.
I mean, Netflix is probably gonna show off some stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Just going by what these partners are, I don't know what they can announce. Honestly, like Sega,
Well, that's half the
prob-
fun, James. That's half the fun not knowing what's coming down the pipe.
yeah, I guess so. But at the same time, it's like seeing this, it's like, man, I don't know. Like Sega's probably gonna show Sonic Generations and Shadow. There
Yeah,
was also a rumor that Sega has more Shadow things planned. That supposedly there might be another game that includes Shadow coming out also before the
because
end
of
of
the
this year.
movie.
Yep, movie's supposed to
Mhm.
be entering at the end of this year. We'll probably see maybe the first trailer because we haven't seen the trailer yet, and
Nope.
there was a
It
trailer
got
shown.
revealed at some con, right?
Yeah, exactly. There was a
Yeah.
trailer behind closed doors,
Mhm.
but nobody else has seen it except for those people there. So who knows?
Mhm.
Maybe we'll see the trailer finally. Um, I don't know what Timmy Studio Group is.
Yeah,
North
there's some on there. I have no
Hornburger.
idea what they are.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at all these like I know. Let's see the ones I know. I'm gonna name them right now: Ubisoft, Warner Bros, Xbox, Razer, Riot. I mean Samsung Gaming Hub. I'm pretty sure that's not a studio, but yeah. Sega, SNK, Steam, which is funny they put Steam and not Valve there, but whatever. Um, Supercell maybe sounds familiar, but I don't know. PlayStation Party Animals is a game, so I'm not sure why it says Party Animals and not a developer, but whatever. Nexon, Niantic, Netflix, NetEase. I don't know who NC is. I was thinking NC Soft. I was like, no, they're no longer. I don't think they're no longer around. So I don't know who NC is. MetaQuest, Magic the Gathering, Hoyoverse, Focus Entertainment, Epic Games, Electronic Arts, Dolby, of course, Discord, they're not really a studio. Devolver Digital, Deep Silver, Capcom, uh, Bandai Namco, Atlas, Atari, Annapurna, Amazon Games, and then 2K. That's it.
Mhm.
There's still
I think
quite
I
a
think
lot
there's
that I don't know.
I think there's capability for there to be a couple cool things coming out of that. Honestly, like it's just because Square Enix and Nintendo aren't there doesn't mean that there can't be some nice surprises coming from these studios. Like
Yeah.
I definitely don't think need to be so pessimistic, James. I think there could be some cool stuff coming
Well,
from this.
there could be a new Resident Evil because I think it was
There you
rumored that
go.
Resident Evil Code Veronica was in the
Hmm.
works remake
Yep.
and Code Veronica
And
and something
zero,
else and Zero, right?
zero.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So hey, if they show off something like that, that is nice, and it is about time that we get a new Resident Evil look because Resident Evil 4 was last year, right?
2023. Yep.
Okay,
I think it was February or
February. Yeah,
March or something. 2023.
yeah. So Resident Evil 4 was last year.
Hmm.
So we're probably gonna see a new Resident Evil this year, probably announced, and if it's not already coming out this year, which I could see that happening. Like honestly, because we had Resident Evil 4 came out 2023. When did Resident Evil Village come out? Do you remember?
2021. I think. Let me check.
Then I would put it a 2 year mark because then that would be a new Resident Evil will be announced this year and then probably coming out
Yep.
next year.
21.
21. Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that it's possible because I think no, that was Sega. I was thinking somebody else. Never mind. So maybe we'll get a new Resident Evil look. I hope it's Code Veronica because I think Code Veronica deserves a remake a lot
Yes,
more than 4. Like 4 remake was amazing and I
I
loved
agree.
it.
Yeah.
But like
Hmm.
Code Veronica deserves a remake. It's a game that
Yeah.
I always had fun with. I played it on
Mhm.
Dreamcast and PS2.
Yep.
And I thought it was great. And I was like, man, after playing 2 and 3, I was like, I want a Code Veronica remake. So that's
I just
actually gonna be fun.
remember
Mm-hmm.
how when Code Veronica came out on Dreamcast, like the graphics like blew my
Mm-hmm.
mind. Like that
Yeah.
opening scene of Claire running through that hallway and like the helicopter shooting at her or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, like that was
Yeah.
just like unreal how great that looked.
Yep. Oh man, Dreamcast was just
Oh, I
it,
love Dreamcast so
it's
much.
one of those you hear the ahead of its time thing. The Dreamcast was
Yes.
definitely ahead of its time.
It was the gamers console, like
Yeah.
flat out end of story. Like I think the closest comparison would be like the Switch. I think or like the Steam Deck. Like those are just like gamer machines.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, RIP Dreamcast.
Yeah. I mean, what happened? What the reason it died though? It's just it didn't have the IPs, like the exclusive IPs that Sony had and Nintendo had, and that's what killed it. Because I'll never forget. I would always go to a GameStop, look at the Dreamcast wall, and I'm like, oh man, like what is there to play? Like I already own Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2. I already own
Marvel vs.
Shenmue.
Capcom 2, Sega
Yeah.
Rally, Jet Grind Radio, Grandia 2. I could Power Stone. There's so much Techromancer. There's so many games on
Yeah, there was
Dreamcast.
those. Yeah, I mean,
Crazy Taxi.
there's Crazy Taxi. Yeah, like, but like for me, like at that time, I was like super deep into RPGs. Like outside of Skies of Arcadia, what was there? And
Skies of
Evolution.
Arcadia was so good. I love
Yeah,
Skies of Arcadia. Yeah, the Evolution game. Yeah, I remember that.
those were the only two RPGs I can think of because
Mhm.
Street Fighter Third
Yep.
Strike was on there. Like you said,
Oh, yeah,
Marvel
that was
vs.
on that too.
Capcom
Yep. Capcom
was
vs.
on
SNK.
there. Yeah, all Resident Evil 2, 3, and Code
Yep.
Veronica was on
Mhm.
there because they ported 2 and 3.
Yep.
What else? Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, of course. Shenmue was like, I would
Yep.
play also. Oh, it was another thing. So we would play Rainbow Six. I'll never
Mhm.
forget. Like back then, like there was a version
With the
of each
big
game per
6K modem.
console. Well, no. So I would play it like normal, like single player mode.
Oh, single
But
player. Okay.
then once I found out that the only version that had co-op was the N64 version, I just started buying
That's
the
so
Rainbow
weird.
Six version. Yeah, that was the only way to
Huh.
play them co-op at the time. And then of course GameCube
Interesting.
versions came out. But yeah, I would not play the Dreamcast games after that. But I did have Rainbow Six. I had two of them. I don't remember the names of them. I want to say it's the first Rainbow Six game, and then maybe the sequel. But I know I had two Rainbow Six games, and those were pretty fun as well. But yeah, anyways, super off topic. Yeah, Code Veronica would be nice. Hey, Sega, maybe Skies of Arcadia. That would be nice.
Oh man, if that got announced, that would be Skies of Arcadia is so good, man.
That would be amazing. Like, go back to that.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what Capcom could announce because we already see Monster Hunter Wilds. We'll probably
Mega
see.
Man X9.
They don't care about Mega Man. You know
I
that.
know they don't. It's sad. I know. I
We
know.
both know that. No, that would be
I know.
crazy if they announced something Mega Man related there. Yeah, I'm probably going
I'd lose my
crazy.
mind.
Yeah, I don't care what it is. If it's a Mega Man Battle Network sequel or Mega Man X
Mhm.
sequel or Mega Man Zero sequel. Actually, Zero doesn't need a sequel because that actually ended. But like something related there, that would be amazing.
Yep.
Mega Man Legends 3, revive Mega Man
Oh,
Legends
that'd be
3.
yeah, totally. Bring remaster 1 and 2, bring it forward to modern consoles. That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Hey, I said that if there's any game that I feel would have a lot of success today, I think it's Mega Man Legends. Just that would be a nice transition to somebody who wants to know Mega Man, but also wants to play something that's like a third person, like action adventure game, something
Yeah.
like that. So
Hmm.
because and slash RPG, right? Because you had the RPG
Yep.
mechanics and all that. So I think Mega Man
Hmm.
Legends would be a great game to bring back if they can get the right
Yes.
developers and do it right.
Hmm.
But yeah. What games would you like to see announced?
I think we kind of just went over a lot of the stuff. Like I said, the Metal Slug. I want that to make an appearance, so we know when that's coming out. Anything Mega Man by Capcom. A new look at like a Devil May Cry something. I don't care what it is. Like bring that again. What more looks at that new Jet Grind radio game or Jet Set radio game because they already announced that. Like I think they had that trailer for it. I want to say it was the Did they show that at the Game Awards? The trailer, the real trailer for that, like the non-leaked version. Didn't they show that at the Game Awards? I don't remember, but that looks amazing. I can't wait for that. Um, I don't think we'll be lucky enough to see anything of like. I doubt there'll be anything like Persona related. So they'll just show that Metaphor game, which is fine because that game looks fantastic too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I like
Persona
being
4
surprised.
remake.
So,
Nah.
oh yeah, I don't think they're gonna do that because 3 Reload is like so fresh. But that would be
Yeah.
cool if they. But I doubt it.
They hint at it.
Mhm.
Like also coming soon. Yeah, that would make people go crazy.
Yeah, that yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like for me, I guess what's all on my mind right now is I'm very curious at what Nintendo's going to show off. That's really all I can think of is what is Nintendo going to show off at their direct.
We'll
If
find out
Square
soon, man.
Enix, yeah, if Square Enix is not showing up at Summer Game Fest, then I'm hoping they have a lot of stuff to show off there. Bravely Default would be nice. Dragon Quest, of course. I mean, honestly, I was hoping for some Kingdom Hearts 4 stuff. But it says, I think on June 13th, on the Steam page, it says also to look out for more Kingdom Hearts news
Mhm.
on Steam. I'm almost positive. Let me open up Steam real quick. And that might hint at some type of Kingdom Hearts announcement coming that
Whenever it
day.
comes to Kingdom Hearts, I think of like that meme of like the clown like drawing on their face or whatever, like the Kingdom Hearts fans or whatever when like
Yeah.
something doesn't get announced.
Yeah, I mean, Kingdom Hearts fans have been waiting for the longest
Yeah.
time now. It's like,
Mhm.
oh man, I can't tell you. Like Kingdom Hearts 4 was announced in what 2020, I want to say.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and all we got was that small trailer, and that is it. And I'm here thinking, oh yeah, and I could have sworn there was an interview where they said the wait for Kingdom Hearts 4 is not going to be as long as the wait for Kingdom Hearts 3.
That's
And
not
I feel
saying much,
like,
wasn't it, like 10 years almost?
yeah, I mean, not really. Like if you compare between 2 and 3, then yes. But the thing with Kingdom Hearts, right, is Birth by Sleep, 358 over 2, Dream Drop Distance, all those are canon to the story. So those kind of count. So in my opinion, it's not a 10-year gap. It was like a 4-year, maybe 5
I
year.
thought it was long. I thought it was longer than that. I thought Kingdom Hearts 3 was like 7 years between when it was announced to when it was released. I'm gonna look that up.
It was announced at E3. Let's see.
Kingdom Hearts 3 was announced with a teaser on June 10th, 2013.
Yeah.
So
That
Kingdom
was right
Hearts was
after
released in 2019, so that's 6 years.
6 years.
That's not
Okay.
great. Yeah.
So 6 years there. So we're at so Kingdom Hearts 3 released, you said 2019, so we're at 5 years
Correct.
already.
Yeah. So I doubt it's coming out this year. I mean, if it was,
Yeah.
that would be crazy. So I bet it'll probably be about the same, if not more. So they might have
I,
been lying to you.
yeah, I think they are lying. Square Enix is always
Yeah.
lying. Uh, which man, that kind of sucks. Now that I think about it, that makes me very sad. It's been 5 years already. Also hopeful.
Mhm.
Maybe I just have to wait another year, and we'll get a Kingdom Hearts game
Again,
again.
the
Yeah,
clown makeup meme.
yeah, exactly. But I am most excited to see what Nintendo brings because they've killed it this whole Switch generation, and
Mhm.
I think they just show up. They show up, bring stuff. Like Dragon Quest is not going to be exclusive, but they're going to show it off, and I'm going to be excited.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
probably won't get that on Switch. I'll probably get it on my Steam Deck, but doesn't matter. The point is they're going to show it off, and I'm excited for that.
Mhm.
And who knows what other stuff they're going to show off that will come out on other platforms. But yeah, that's pretty much it that we have for today. Anything you
Wait,
want to
hold on
mention,
before we
Brian?
go. Hold on
Yeah.
1 second. I had two things I wanted to talk about real
Mm.
quick. One, we didn't talk about what we've been playing.
Nope, we
And
didn't. So
yeah, so real quick, I am playing Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, loving it, nice and breezy, just kind of going through it, playing with the battle system. It's really a beautiful game to look at. It's very funny. There's a lot of actually like kind of like adult humor in that game, surprisingly. Like it kind of has this kind of edgy undertone to it. It's really interesting. I thought for sure that Nintendo would kind of go back and clean some of that up, but no, they left. I think they left it because it's a little saucy. And then I did get the platinum in Stellar Blade the day after the podcast last week, so that's done. I'm done with that game for the foreseeable future, unless they release some sort of like expansion or an update to it that's meaningful. That's pretty much I'm playing right now, and I know you're playing what you call it, Unicorn Overlord,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah,
That game is amazing. So yeah,
yeah.
I guess stepping back a little bit quick, did beat Rebirth yesterday.
Yeah,
Um,
that was the second thing I wanted to talk about. Is after
okay,
you talk about
all right.
Unicorn, we
So
can
we'll
talk about
talk.
Final Fantasy.
Okay, so Unicorn Overlord, been playing that game of the year for me. Loving the game. I was playing it earlier today. Played it for maybe about like 2 or 3 hours, and no, in my head I was actually thinking as I'm playing this, I was like, wow, there's a bunch of side quests in this game, but the side quests are not annoying. Like I feel like I have to do these side quests, but I'm not bothered by doing it because the rewards make sense. Like they help you build up. You get these things called honors, and honors are like these little like trophies that you get, and you use those to expand your army. So by default, you start off with like 2 characters, and then you gotta pay. I think it's like 10 honors, and then you can have 3 people in your team, and then you pay 50 honors to have 4 people in your team. So honors are very useful. So like I have like I think 7 different units, and I've leveled up the majority of them. No, not even. I want to say about half to have 4 like party members or whatever you want to call them in there. And it's useful. So like every side quest I see, I'm trying to complete it because they give you a lot of honors, so I can expand my party. And I don't feel like it's annoying at all. There's other
You feel like
games
there's
where,
a progression. Like you feel like when you do side quests, there's like
Mhm.
actual like tangible effects from doing them and
Oh
like
yeah,
purpose.
for sure. Like it feels purposeful. There's some of the side quests have some actual like good story going on too, which is nice. Like they'll have cutscenes. They're fully voice acted. Some of them you actually get different party members or units to join you. So like if you don't do the side quest, you might miss out on a unit that could join you. Like I got one of them. You meet her in the main story. It's this like angel like girl. That she looks like a Valkyrie, I guess you could say. She has like angel wings and she has like a sword and shield and stuff like that. And you meet her and she tells you, yeah, you need to collect. I think it's like 50 shards or something like that, and I'll join your team. So I collected the shards, but I was like, man, why do I gotta collect these shards? At first, I was just skipping by, but then I realized I collect these shards, I trade them into her, which is how I give it to her, and she gives me like some crazy like good armor and weapons. So I was like, okay, it makes sense. Let me do this, and literally I did that. I got her to join my team, but I also got my whole like military, my army, whatever you want to call them, to actually be like beefed up with armor and like in weapons. So everything just feels very meaningful. It's very good. Like I haven't progressed the story for a while now, almost. Well, no, this is not saying much because I didn't play for the past like 3 days, but like for about a week I haven't progressed the story. Like I think tonight after the podcast I'm gonna continue progressing the story there because I'm like, okay, I think I'm good enough where let me go ahead and start continuing the story. But amazing
And so you're
game.
playing it on Switch too.
Yeah, on Switch. Yeah,
Yeah.
not available on PC. Only available PS5,
Yeah, that's
Series X. Yeah, it's
so
Vanillaware.
unfortunate, but it's like all those other Vanillaware games like 13
Mm-hmm.
Sentinels and all that. So yeah, that's unfortunate because that would be, I'm sure that would be such a great Steam Deck game, like just to chill with. And isn't it kind of like Ogre Battle? Isn't like that game a
It
little bit like
is.
Ogre Battle? Yeah.
It is. It's a lot like Ogre Battle where you're moving like it's like a mini baby like RTS where you move your units out and they walk over there and then of course once the two units meet each other then a fight happens. The fights are automatic, but they have like a gambit system from Final Fantasy 12 built into it. So you get these skills and then you use these different I don't know what you would call them. Like like you can tell them. So like let's say heal, right?
Like
You'll have
prompts.
a heal move. Yeah, you can have different conditions on
Hmm.
when and who they should use heal on. Because if you don't do anything, they'll just heal randomly, and by default they just tend to just heal the same person over and over again, which would cause that like let's say you have two rows, and your front row is usually like your defender. So what happens is if you don't set it under certain conditions, they'll just heal your defender all the time. Even if they're like at like they only lost 2 HP, they'll heal them versus any of your back party members that might not have like a lot of HP. So what you do is you go ahead and create a condition that puts it, you can heal anybody that has like less than 50% HP or anybody that has low HP. You use heal, and it gets a little bit more in depth later on when you get the cleric class, because then cleric can attack, but they can also heal. So then, like I have my cleric set up as anybody that's below 75% HP use like I forgot what it's called. I think it's like cure row or something like that, which heals your whole row.
Mm.
If not, then you're gonna just use your attack. So it's pretty in depth in terms of when you start getting into it. There's a lot of like systems built into it.
That Gambit thing, like that's what kind of made me bounce off at 12
Mhm.
because it kind of overwhelmed me. Like I like the idea of like having to go in and like program in like if the health is below 20% heal this person because I don't know
Yeah,
I just get too in my own head about it I guess like I'm not doing
yeah,
something right but I still bought it I mean I love Vanillaware so I bought it anyways and I
yeah.
will get around to it sometime but yeah it does look cool though.
Yeah, I don't think it's like as in depth as like 12 because 12 was
12
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more.
Mhm.
This is a little bit more basic. You don't have
Okay.
to buy gambits to go ahead and like set certain conditions. And they're very simple. So like if somebody has a move and they'll tell you like javelin does more does high damage to flying enemies. So what you do is like okay, you'll prioritize flying enemies. So you just find that thing to select to prioritize, and then by default, if that condition is not met, then they just go ahead and do it on any random character anyways, which is nice. So it's not like Gambit where like if the condition's not met, they won't do anything.
Mhm.
Here they'll just kind of like default to whatever the default stuff is. So it's not
Gotcha.
as in the. I think the way I'm explaining it is more confusing than the way it actually is. I'll
I'm
say.
following you. I think it just sounds a lot more rudimentary. Like 12s, like you said, you can buy stuff and like level up, and it gets very in the minutia. Where this just kind of sounds more like setting parameters that are just a lot more generalized, and that
Yeah.
sounds like I might be able to wrap my mind around it a little bit better.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like some of the stuff it's like confusing some of the other parameters they have, but I just put like, you know
Mhm.
what, if you're a healer, just heal whoever has the lowest HP. That's it.
There you go.
And
Yeah,
that's what I did. I just
that's easy
switch
enough.
everybody to heal whoever has the lowest HP. And then if any ability are specific, like if it does more damage to certain things, then I'll set a perimeter or like a condition for those. If their ability has not like a certain ability, then I just leave it alone and I just let it play out the way it is. So
Before we
um
move on to
yeah.
Rebirth, I wanted to ask: do you think you're gonna get Paper Mario eventually? Like, is that something you're gonna play
Oh
through? You
yeah,
think?
I do want to get
Okay.
it. Like I've been
Okay.
debating on getting it now, but I'm like I want to pick up Kingdom Hearts, and then I also want to make sure that I don't buy anything right now because whatever Nintendo might announce, if they shadow drop
Might take
like
precedent.
something,
Yeah.
yeah, who knows? Maybe they shadow drop Metro Prime 4. Nah, I doubt that's gonna happen, but
Oh, that'd be crazy. I just give me 2 and 3. Just give me
yeah,
those 2 and the first Shadow Drop, and I'll that'll be an A plus Nintendo Direct for me. But or Wind Waker and Twilight
and Twilight
Princess.
Princess or
Cool.
both.
Yeah.
Oh man, like
Yeah.
if they
Whatever.
if they did both, then that would be like
They
an
did
S for
both.
me.
And then if they did both, it's like that meme of like Vince McMahon where it like, do you know which one I'm talking about? Like where it's like it shows
Yeah,
something and then like the last one's him like sprawled out like
yeah.
freaking out.
Oh man,
But
yeah,
Rebirth, you finished Rebirth on Friday.
I
Let's
did.
talk about, without spoiling anything, let's talk about the ending, overall thoughts about it for you. I'll tell you what I think of it after you finish it and everything like that. So go ahead and give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, my thoughts on that. Like I don't think a lot of people were saying like it's like it was just like a mind like I don't know, like it was just like a crazy ending. And to me, not so much. Like I don't know, like I don't think it was that crazy. I mean, it could be part of it because I watch a lot of anime and I've seen some crazy anime endings and some things that are just like wow, like I don't understand what's happening here. I mean, I played Xenoblade Chronicles X that has like some crazy stuff there, so I don't know. Like I'm excited to see what they do with the third game. The Sephiroth fight was fun, right?
Yes,
Like
with another character or for the Sephiroth fight, the fight I really thought was cool and kind of gave me goosebumps is when you're playing as Cloud and you're with another character.
yes,
That's not the last
yeah,
battle, but there's another character that you fight
yes,
against
me
Sephiroth
too,
with that I thought is really cool that you do that.
me too. And it's funny because that part too. When I was talking to somebody about this, it's like that's a key part that in gameplay, the game is actually telling you where Cloud's mind is now,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I think it explains a lot of the ending. Um, in terms of what is going on with the ending. And that's why to me I didn't feel as confused. And there are a couple of things that I am confused about.
Mhm.
And this will be semi spoiler, so if anybody doesn't want to um hear this, definitely I would just say just end right now. Like, we'll see you next
Never mind our
next
rambling.
podcast. Yeah, but like this is just we'll see you next podcast. But this was a slight spoiler, not big spoiler. If you played a little bit of Rebirth or even finished Remake, then you would know what I'm talking about. But I'm going in right now. So is the multiple like dimensions. Like you have the different was it is it Stamp or Stampy? The
Yeah,
dog?
stamp. Yep.
Yeah, so we know there's different versions of the dog per
Different dogs. Yep.
for dimension. And there's one that you saw already with where Zach is at. There's one that's where you're, the main timeline that you're playing on. Then there's another one that shows up. And then I believe there's one more, and I don't know where that last one is. I keep trying to remember where it is. But throughout that whole thing, like especially towards the end, it's like when they drop all the story beats, you're starting to realize that this is definitely multidimensional. There's
Mhm.
multiple timelines going on at the same time. You can see that in certain decisions. Um, One of the cutscenes that people, I know were like kind of crazy about was that you're again spoilers again. So if you want to, silent mute me for a little bit. if you want to hear, was when Zack was going ahead and choosing the two different paths, and then the cutscene, the
Mhm,
original cutscene, you see he took the path to take Biggs,
mhm.
but there's also a cutscene of him going to see Hojo.
Get the medicine for Cloud, right?
Exactly. So like, they're
Mm.
both of those are happening simultaneously, and it just kind of shows off that this is definitely multi-dimensional, but multi-dimensional in a way that there's a bunch of different scenarios playing on at the same time. You just got to understand that. And I think the way the ending goes is, I feel that like Cloud is a cloud between worlds, right? Like he's kind of like in between two dimensions that he can see, one where, spoiler again, so just want to say it again. Uh, skip this if you don't want to. If you don't want to hear this,
This has
just
turned into the spoiler cast, everybody. So we're going to be
yeah.
talking Final Fantasy 7 spoilers. So again, last warning, we're spoiling the ending of 7 Rebirth. So leave if you don't want to hear it. Okay, go ahead.
So you have there's a dimension where Cloud saved Aerith, and there's one where he didn't, right? And that's what it is. That they're both playing out, but Cloud, I think what happened is whatever happened to him, where he did that little like scene with Aerith, where they're back and he was able to see the sky and see everything
Mhm.
goes on. I
And
think
nobody
whatever
else did.
happened there, correct.
Mhm.
Well, not that scene, the other scene where he's in
Oh,
the slums or
oh,
wherever
okay. I thought you were
it
talking about
was.
the end.
Yeah, I think when that happened, something happened to Cloud, and now he's living in between both dimensions. So what he's doing is actually affecting both dimensions, if that makes sense. So that's why at the end, where you're fighting with Aerith on your side, Aerith is actually there fighting with you.
Mhm.
But the issue is that we're also seeing the perspective of where Aerith died. So like the main timeline, Aerith still died, but there is another timeline where Aerith is still alive. And that's where, he talks to Aerith, and Aerith's like, yeah, I know how to find my way and stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
so I
You're
think,
talking about the end part, like where
yeah,
they're out in the field or whatever, and
correct,
they leave on the tiny Bronco. Yeah.
correct, yeah. So I don't, because I think Aerith is actually there, right? Or that's what one of my other theories was, that Aerith is there and Cloud can see her through the live stream. Because if we take Advent Children into consideration, Cloud saw both Zack and Aerith wave
Mhm.
at him and leave
Mhm.
at the end of
Mhm.
Advent Children, right? So I think Cloud can also see Aerith through the live stream, and that's why even Nanaki was able to feel her when when she touched him. Remember,
Mhm.
he looked real quick because he felt it. So
Mhm.
there's also that too. So there's like two scenarios that might be going on.
So when I finished it, I felt like the story, it's all gonna depend on how they land the plane. It's all gonna depend on that. It's all gonna depend on how part 3 brings all the threads together. Because how I think about it right now is I think that it's kind of too clever by half. Like they're just trying to be. It's just like complicated and pretentious for complicated and pretentious sake, in my opinion. I think that the whole thing with like, oh, Aerith, she gets stabbed, but it's like the alternate dimension version of Sephiroth, and like it's just getting a little too crazy for me. And
Yeah,
um, and like if it ends up being in part 3 that they're able to put all this together and make it all make sense, then hey, they're geniuses, and
yeah,
that's great, and I'll swallow my words. But the way that it's going right now, it just seems like I don't need it to be this complicated. Like, I'm not saying that you have to give me the OG storyline. I'm not saying that it has to be beat by beat what OG was, because then, I mean, it'd be fine, I guess. But I do think there's room to bring some new stuff to the table. But I don't think you have to go this all out. Like, I like all the bits with Zach. Honestly, the bits with Zach in this game were probably my favorite story parts, like
same
where you
here.
play as him.
Yep,
And
same here.
I didn't particularly care for Crisis Core. Like, I thought it was okay, and I didn't actually really care for Zach either. Like, spoiler for Crisis Core, because we're just, I mean, not really a spoiler. I mean, Zach dies in Crisis Core, but like something that always irritated me is like the whole game. The whole game in Crisis Core is about like Zach finding his identity and like finding out how to be like an individual, and like rejecting the corporation that like is trying to kill him and like tortured him and Cloud and
Yeah,
stuff. And at the end, he's like, so I forget what he says, but he's like, soldier does this, soldier does that, or whatever.
yeah,
And it's like that kind of goes against what you were saying the whole game. But anyway, I found him kind of irritating in Crisis Core, like too much of an optimist, and I didn't care for him. And his voice actor, his English voice actor in the new Crisis Core, I found really obnoxious. Like, Angie, like I just no. Uh, but I did like his character a lot in Rebirth. Like, even though it's the same voice actor, even though he's still the optimist, there's just something about the placement of his character where he is kind of this badass, because you saw him, beat all those soldiers in the end of Crisis Core, and then you see him now where, like, he's a capable fighter, and like that he's trying to save Aerith, and him and Cloud are comrades, and like Cloud's become incredibly stronger from Crisis Core, obviously, because in Crisis Core he was like halfway comatose. So I don't know. There's just something different about that dynamic that makes Zack immediately more interesting. Like when Zack and Biggs are meeting up, and that like if stuff goes down, like Biggs is going to be fine. Like Zack will take care of anything that comes to them. Like I think that's really cool and interesting. But again, I think the possibility for them to land this and have it be cool and interesting at the end is definitely possible. It's kind of like I was enthralled by Attack on Titan like from the beginning or whatever, but there were parts in the first couple seasons where you're like, hey, this is really complicated and just really like mysterious for like mysteriousness sake. I never got sick of it because I really wanted to see what happened. Whereas in Rebirth, I'm getting kind of sick of how hokey it is in some ways.
Yeah.
Attack on Titan, they ended up landing the plane. I consider it like one of the most brilliant pieces of fiction ever created. And then Rebirth, we'll see how they do. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like Rebirth, I do feel like they're trying to be too mysterious for no reason.
Hokey, just
Like we
kind
could
of like
have, you can push it forward and let us get in hint, because I feel like, honestly speaking, playing through Rebirth, you expect some answers to have been answered. Instead, I
there really
felt like,
wasn't.
yeah, nothing was answered.
Mhm.
We still don't know, for the most part, what's going on. I guess we moved the needle like a tad bit. Now we know that Sephiroth is not only trying to, pretty much get the life stream's power or whatever it was, to kind of basically destroy this, but he wants to kind of get it from every dimension. So
Everything.
he's doing it on multiple dimensions, like in multiple areas.
Yep. Mhm.
So that's that we know, but like it's kind of like when I thought about that, I was like, that's a given, because there's multiple dimensions to begin with. So like that's something that I guess was already explained when Tifa was in the live stream and we kind of saw things going on. At least that's what I started to pick up already by then. And
I just hate. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, no, and like I agree with you with Zack. Like I'm in the camp that I do like Zack. Ever since I found out about Zack, I thought he was cool. I was like, Zack, I need more Zack. I want more Zack gameplay. Of course, eventually we got Crisis Core, but I was very disappointed there was no long segments of Zack in this game.
Yeah, like where you fight with him.
Yeah, because I agree. Like I think Cloud, and we're probably just tired of Cloud just being, okay, let's go. We gotta go here. Okay, let's go. Like I said, where Zack is more like, man, like he feels you're literally Zack, because he's like, what is going on here? Like,
Right. Yeah, good point.
He doesn't understand, and that was one thing that I really like, because it's like, oh, us as
He's
the players,
inquisitive,
we're definitely
which
Zack.
we would be too.
Because he did not know what was going on. He was trying to figure things out, and I think probably why a lot of us like Zack more is just that he's like us. Like we don't understand what's going on in this story. Neither does he. He's trying to figure out. But I wish we had more gameplay of him, because I just like Zack's character overall. Like he's
You just have the beginning and the end. That's it. Just like you have that beginning piece with Zack, like the very beginning of the game where you're like saving Aerith, and then you have the end fight, and like that's all the fighting you have with him.
Exactly. And to me that sucks. Like you got to play with him with the duo, and then you got to play with him by himself, and it was all fun. Like his moveset and everything was really fun. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, like I think my opinion stands. Like it's like
What would you grade it?
C. I would say like a C.
See?
Yeah, I still think remake was better, but I think because it was more
It's more
streamlined.
focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This just seems to again add more questions than answer, which I don't mind, but like how can I put it? Like Kingdom Hearts. A lot of people like to compare Kingdom Hearts and Nomura's Kingdom Hearts stuff. And to me, I was able to follow Kingdom Hearts no problem. Any little plot they change or whatever little plot device they added, it made sense to me. Like, oh, okay, Sora has a nobody and a heartless. When somebody loses their heart, their body separates and their heart separates. So you have the nobody, just the body, and then the heartless is
Roxas, right?
the heart. Yeah, like Roxas, right? All
Mhm.
that stuff like made sense to me. And then and you had the dream realm where Sora was training and stuff
Wait,
like
hold on. I'm
that.
gonna play this. I'm gonna play Kingdom Hearts eventually, so no
Oh,
spoilers.
okay, gotcha.
I've only played
Uh,
one. That's the only one I've only played and beat is one.
okay, so then I won't get
And I
to
know I played a little bit of two as well, so I know about Roxas, but like that's it.
okay. Okay, you gotta play all of it. You gotta play Chain of
I
Memories. You gotta
will.
play. Okay,
I
cool.
will.
So then I won't get into that. But there's a lot of stuff that goes on that some people get confused by or don't understand it. But to me, like I was able to understand it. And each game, even though they might have added something new to it, something a little bit more confusing, they also answered previous questions too, and it kind of made sense all along, all the way up to Kingdom Hearts 3, where pretty much they closed down a certain arc, but then they started focusing on another arc that they already had added. So yeah, I would say a C. I do want to see where this ends. I am excited to play the third part. It's just I don't know, like
This took a lot out of me. Like I wouldn't
mhm,
say C. I'll say C plus B minus on
mhm.
it, just because I do appreciate like the scope of it. The battle system's still pretty solid.
Yeah, the battle
The
system is fun,
environments are
especially
beautiful.
like I said, the Sephiroth fight. It was very fun.
Yeah, yeah. There's some good stuff there, but it's just the bloat, the seg. Like so much of it has like good stuff, and then it just gets halted. Like you have a bunch of really cool gameplay stuff, and then you get halted at like Gold Saucer. You have to go back and do those mini games like 3 times. Then you have like the ship where you have like the Queen's Blood. I mean, I guess like that stuff in a vacuum, like once in a while is fine, but it just feels like it stops forever. And like one other thing I want to touch on too before we go is the thing with like Cloud and like how nobody like when he pushes Tifa into like the pool with
Yeah,
the weapons, and like she gets out and she's like, NBD, like I almost died, but like we're still cool. Like nobody stops Cloud. Like, dude, what is your problem? Like, do we need to
yeah,
commit you? Like you attempted murder? Like that's it's just so like they're
yeah.
so nonplussed about it. Like it's so unrealistic, and I feel like that kind of carries the whole like that whole dynamic of just them not acting like human beings is just kind of like the whole story in general, where it's just this very like surreal, hokey, kind of like multi-dimensional, we're not going to act like real humans thing, and
Yeah.
that kind of bothered me too.
No, I agree. I mentioned that on my stream when that happened too, and like there was
Yeah.
plenty of times, like in the what's it called, Temple of the Ancients. It's like plenty of times where
Yeah.
he's doing stuff for like, bro, like nobody's gonna be like, yo, man, like I think you got some issues here. Like I think we need to go ahead and do something about this. Like no way. Like it took
Right.
towards the end where Barrett's talking to him, where you kind of finally nice see Barrett's like, yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know if I trust this guy, But it's like,
Or like
why
when
was
Aerith is giving that speech at the in the temple
Mhm.
of the ancients, where she's like, we need to just move forward, and we're a group, and we're gonna take, and then Cloud's like, are you finished? It's like, dude, you're
Yeah,
such an ass. Like why are
exactly.
you like this? Like you were
And
so
nobody's
nice.
saying anything.
Nobody
Yeah.
said anything. Like, dude, Cloud, what's your problem, man?
No, yeah, that's another
Mm.
thing. I was actually hoping that somehow Cloud was the bad guy and he had to fight Cloud.
Dark Cloud, like Dark Link in Ocarina of
Yeah.
Time or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. I mean, it kind of
Yeah.
looks that way because Sephiroth is like controlling him more and more.
Mhm.
And that was the thing that was like not knowing like or like how can I put it? That I am kind of like I guess not confused, but I kind of want to know what's happening here. Is that Cloud has the dark material now?
Yeah, the dark and light
Yeah,
materia, and then like puts it in his sword or whatever.
yeah. It's like, huh? Like, okay, what's going
Yeah,
on
that
here?
was weird. Yeah.
hmm So I think it's gonna be interesting. We're definitely. I don't think it's gonna be the ending that we thought, but if they don't do anything with the Cloud like slowly like turning into Sephiroth thing, then I'll be very disappointed. Because I think that's a huge story to be like throughout there. You kind of see him. It's almost like he's turning into Sephiroth. Like he started saying the stuff Sephiroth was saying, and all that stuff. And like I think that's what it is. Because he's the only soldier really that has Sephiroth cells.
Right.
Yeah, because Zack doesn't. Zack has no. I
Zach
think he's
have
just
Genova?
Mako. No, I think he's just
Mako?
Mako infused.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he even has Genova cells. Yeah,
How
because
about like Angeal and Genesis? Which one of those are dead? I don't even remember. And
both of them are dead. Yeah,
both of them are dead.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because with Zach, you killed them both. They had
No, at the end
Genesis
of Crisis
cells.
Core, one of them's still alive because like the Shinra soldiers pick him up, isn't it? The one that likes Loveless. I thought he's still
Oh
alive.
yeah, so well, if we go based off of Dirge of Cerberus, then yes, because he is still alive. Because at the end of
Okay.
Dirge of Cerberus, there's a secret ending where he shows up and he is still alive, but they
Okay.
never went
What's his
anywhere
name?
with
Which
that.
one's that?
Genesis.
That's Genesis. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Angel I think had the Genesis cells because Genesis cells were like degrade, and that was his issue. But I think they were fused with Genova cells, I think, or
Okay.
something like that. That's how they made that. Something like that. Um, but yeah, I mean it's a C, and I'm like I think people who say it's their game of the year, I mean cool.
Yeah. No way.
I don't think it's the best game ever made. It's definitely not my favorite Final Fantasy ever made.
Mm-mm.
And yeah, I guess we'll just
Stellar Blade's my
see.
GOTY so far. Certainly not Rebirth.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see. I don't. As of right now, I see Unicorn Overlord being my game of the year, unless something else crazy gets announced, which I doubt it. But that's my game of the year.
We'll be here if it does.
Yeah, definitely will. But all right, let's go ahead and end the podcast. I appreciate everybody for joining us as always. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. We're sitting at 929. Actually, let me refresh that. I think last.
After this duo podcast,
Yeah.
I bet it went up to like 50.
Yeah, actually no, we're sitting at 928. I lied, 928.
We lost one. Okay.
We lost
My
one.
fault.
Yes. But definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. 2 weeks left to hit the goal, so definitely do that. Helps us a lot. Sharing the channel helps out a lot. We'll be back on Thursday with some more group streaming, and then Friday, I'll say more than likely we're gonna do the Summer Game Fest. I almost said State
Summer
of
Game
Play.
Fest.
Yeah, we're gonna do the Summer Game Fest, and I probably won't do a group stream that day because I think Summer Game Fest is gonna be like almost an hour, if not a little bit longer than that. So I probably won't do a group or not a group stream, a solo stream that day, which would mean that the next time you'll see us would be on the podcast on that Saturday, which I believe is the return of Ash as well. So Ash should be joining us that Saturday as well. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Brian, where can I catch you at?
At red_so_deep on Twitter.
And as always, you can catch me here. Don't forget to go ahead and check out The Geek Show. He is streaming archives right now, live. Basically, Toonami for gaming. So definitely check out his channel. Very good stuff to have. You know, whether you're working on a project or something in the background, it's nice to have. Where it's just basically gameplay that he has, and it has like a nostalgic vibe to it. But thanks for watching. Thanks, Bryant. We'll catch you guys next time.